Hello YouTube, welcome to Curious Me channel. This is Shabazz Khan, and in this video we'll learn how to create web APIs, and consume them using. We'll be using C# as the backend and jQuery in the client side. All right, so let's go ahead and open our Visual Studio. Go to File, New, Project. Now once you are there in the prompt, you select ASP.NET Web Application. Double click on it. Write the name of the project. I'll write my API project. Right. It says it already exists because I might have tested. So I'll just say my API projects. Alright, I'll select empty and then web API and then click OK. It will take some time and then create this setup. It is adding all references. Okay. So once this folder is, once your project is created, you will find this controllers folder. So what's special about this controllers folder is that in any web app, in any framework, whether it be MVC or web forms, you'll find this controllers if you're using web applications. All right. So it is inside this folder you place all your web API related codes. Okay. So let's go ahead and right click on it, add, and then controller. Now you'll select web API to controller empty. Why? Because we do not want any predefined code in ours, because we want to learn how to write code. Duh. So we'll not select MVC because it's something different. So we'll select web API to controller empty. All right, let's go ahead and add it. Now you always want to keep this controller in the end. Okay, that's the convention in C#. You always end your name of controller with a controller postfix. So I'll write my API controller, okay, and then add. All right, once your controller is added, okay, you'll see that it inherits from API controller. All right, if it was an MVC controller, it will inherit from only controller, but since we are not using MVC, we'll let it be. Okay, so our controller is there. So let's go to the app start and web API config.cs. So this configuration will always be there when you are using web API, whether it be in MVC or whether it be in web form. So you can configure your API. By default, the configuration is set to use the URL format API/controller/ID, and ID being an optional parameter. So what API/controller means is that, okay, let me show you then. Let's go ahead and write public HTTP response message, and then I'll write only post, okay, and then write something like return request dot create response, okay, and then HTTP status. It takes two parameters. It takes many parameters, but I basically use only two. I will pass HTTP status code dot OK, telling this that the response is not an error response, it's a success response, and then the data will be API using post. Okay, so that's it, and you do not have to do anything else. This is your controller inside which you have placed your action. Okay, now let's go ahead and very quickly add an HTML page in our project and name it index. All right, index is in place. Let's go ahead and very quickly create a new folder and then name it scripts. All right, now what I want to do is inside that scripts I want to add a new JavaScript file and name it API call. Okay, let's go ahead and add another JavaScript file and name it JQuery. I like to keep my local version of jQuery, so let's open our Firefox browser. Firefox, I like the name Firefox. Okay, so let's go to code.jquery.com and then select minified and then copy this. All right, let's go to copy this entire thing, then go to jQuery.js, control V, and then Control S. Now you have your own local copy of the jQuery. Okay, let's go to the HTML. Click on this, drag and drop right here. So you don't have to worry about the path and all those things. It will take care of it itself. Okay, let's go ahead and drop API calls down here. Why? Because you want to load the jQuery first before using it in API call.js. So let's go to API call.js. Okay, first let's go ahead and create a button. Input type equals to button, and let's name it. Okay, let's not name it, let's ID it as API call button. Okay, and then give it a value of make a call. Let's keep it simple, call. Let's go ahead and write a span. Let's give it a ID of uh, display text, and that's it. Okay, let's go to this JavaScript and very quickly just copy this and bind a click event. I'll use AJAX. Now, if you don't know what AJAX is, you can really quickly go ahead and check this out right here. Right here. This, all right. So let's go ahead and write AJAX and then the URL. So this is where I explain you what this is. Okay. So any URL of this format, okay, will be redirected to this controller. I mean, to this controller folder as a whole. All right. So what this means is any URL containing the API and the controller will be redirected to this folder, and inside that folder this controller named controller will be selected from this. For example, if my controller name is, okay, let me go ahead and write it and then show you. I'll simply write slash API slash controller name. What is my controller name? It is my API controller, but I will not write this my API controller as a whole. I'll only use my API. I'll tell you why. I'll write my API and that's it. That's all I have to do. Now what I want to do is I have to specify a method, and I will specify post. I'll tell you why I have done that in a moment. Done function. Okay, function. Okay. All right. So in function, what I'll do is I'll write data, and then I'll go to this index.html, use this ID of the span, and what I will do is I'll display the response that I'm getting from the API. All right. Dot, sorry, text and the data right here. Okay. All right. So what what this does is whenever you call this API slash controller name, what happens is this router table, it adds a postfix automatically in the end as a controller. It will add controller all by itself. So if you write my API controller here, so the C sharp, in C sharp it will become my API controller, so which is not what you want to do. So what you'll do is you will just write my API and the controller will be added by the router table. Okay, so that's it. When you do this API slash my API, this router table will redirect the request to this controller folder, and then inside that it will find the controller my API. So it will come here. Okay, now comes why I used this post method. Okay, so what happens is since we have not defined any action over here and what method we want to use, what what will happen inside this controller is it will take the HTTP method which is post, and it will find the name of the method which has a prefix of post. Alright, so any method containing the HTTP method or any method that starts with HTTP method will be will be executed and the response will be returned. So since the name is post, okay, and the HTTP method is also post, okay, or you can name it anything. For example, post this or post my function name. Okay, this will also work. Why? Because the prefix is post, or simply post will also work. All right, so let's go ahead and okay, run this like this only. So let's go ahead and build it. And what I have done here is when I click on this input button, the control will go inside this, find a method which starts with post, and then post it on, get the data, that is you API using post, and then this, and then that text we will get it here. Let's go ahead and open it in Firefox. Okay, call. Let's click on this. Okay, there was an issue. Okay, yeah, sorry. There was a delay actually, not an issue. So let's go ahead and click on this once again and see what happens when I click on you can press F12 to bring the console, and then click on network. When I click on this call, you'll see that there is a post request to the domain. Okay, so here you can see that the call went to API slash my API, and the method is post. All right, so what it did is the control went inside this my API and then tried to find any method with the name post. All right, so now if I had another method named post, oh sorry, I'll have to stop this. Okay, now if I had any other method with the name post and, and an overloaded post, all right, and my request would have been something like this. Sorry, with something like /1. All right, now what will happen is, let's go ahead and start. Now the format is with an ID. Okay, the format is of this form, API controller ID. It will again go inside this and try to find a method with post. It will find two methods, but then there is only one method which accepts a parameter this, and then this will be executed and the response from here will be returned. Right, since we do not have any idea what we are returning, let's go ahead and modify it first and then start. All right, so let's stop this and then let's add plus I just to return the value of the parameter. Let's build this once again and then start. Okay, start. Let me close all these. Okay, let's go ahead and call API using post. All right, okay, let me refresh this once again. Click on this call. Okay, it's not working. Why? It should go to this. Am I passing one? Yes, I am passing one. Oh, sorry. The name should be ID, not I. It should be ID. It's my mistake. Sorry, ID. All right, so let's start once again and click on this call. Okay. Okay, yes. Now you'll see that the response I get is API using post 1. Why this one? Because I have a 1 right here. So if what will happen if I do 2? I'll just control F5 this and then click on this and you'll see that I get 2. All right. So at times what happens is you have a function which you do not want to use as an action. All right. But it has a name post in front of it. So what will you do? So the solution is very simple. What you can do is, for example, you have a function name something like public HTTP response message. Okay, now you have a function like post production, or this is just a just a very dumb function. So API using, what I'll do is I'll write here post production. Okay, just in case if this is hit. So what I'll do is I'll give this an attribute non-action. That's it. Now what this non-action does is it define it what it does is when you decorate any function with this non-action, okay, this function will not be treated as an action anymore. All right, so no matter what you do, if I'll comment this out, all right, and then comment this out also, sorry, let's comment these both out. So there is only one method in here, okay, which is post production. It starts with a post. All right, so when I'm calling this, this should call post production. All right, but it will not. Why? Because I have decorated this with non-action, so this function will not be treated as an action anymore, so I cannot access this using the API. Let's go ahead and start this and see what happens, and then I'll remove this non-action and see what happens. All right, okay, let's go ahead and call this, and nothing happens. Let's go ahead and open our console log, go to network, and then click on this once again and see the error. You can see the error. Let me just open this, and the error will be not found. Why? Because there is no, see, here you can see the error. Why it is not finding is because I have decorated with this non-action. Okay, let me just remove this. Oh, I keep running into this. It's very irritating at times. I'll make a video on how to make a means host a website permanently on IISS, so I do not have to build it again and again. That will be a good, isn't it? Okay, so uh, this is it. All right. Now let's go ahead and run this. Now it will hit once I have removed this parameter. Sorry, function header or function decorator, whatever they call it. I don't really know. I just call it them function decorator. I think that's what it is, but that's what they are. Okay, here you go. Now you can use this. All right, call it again, and you will see there will be one request increased. Yes, and then all right. So I think that is clear how you can make a function non-action. I mean, to not behave as an action um, by just adding non-action. That's it. Simple. All right. So let's uncomment these two, and then what I want to do is similar in a similar fashion. What I'll do is I'll write here get. Okay, and then I'll do what here is get. Now what I'll do is using get. Let's build it, and you're getting my point. What will happen, right? So since this method is get, it will go inside and try to find any action with get, and it will find this and then return this API using get. That's it. That's all that will happen. Okay, let's open and just see just for okay, while this loads, let me go ahead get this load. Okay, let's click on call and API using get. All right, so okay, so that was all about the default settings. All right, now what if you want to call, instead of calling these, sorry, instead of using this get header and then post, all right, what if you want to call these functions by their names, all right, straight from the URL? For example, if you want to call this get my function name, so you just have to write here my API slash get what get my function name. All right, so how will you do it? So there is a way how you can do it is by changing this web API config.cs. You just have to come here and you just have to come here and write here action. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, instead of using get or post, what you can do is you can straight away go ahead and use this. All right, but you have to define what kind of functions they are. So how will you do that? You will add a function decorator, http get. All right, so get my function name will now call that function using get my function name and in the URL, and then the method will be get, and we have decorated this function with a function decorator get http get. In a similar fashion, we'll decorate this with http post, and then there's no action, so let's go ahead and then check what happens, see what happens. Sorry, open this. I have done the changes, all right. Yeah, open this. So the call will go to this URL. Click on call and voila, API using get. Alright, so what I did is I just changed the URL routing template. Now instead of finding the action itself, what we are telling the router is that we will provide the action. You don't have to worry about it. Alright, we'll do it ourselves. So similarly, you can use this post function name. How you can use it? By simply writing it here and then slash and then giving it an ID2. Alright, so let's go ahead and oh, since this is JavaScript, we do not have to do, we just have to save it and then go here, hit Control F5 and then call. Sorry, yes, now there will be an error. Why? Because we haven't mentioned. So what will be the error? The error will be method. There is no method of type http post and name blah 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 something. So let's hit it once again and see. Here we'll find, see what the error is. It says method is not allowed. Why? Because we are trying to access a method which is of type post with a type get. So let's just write here post and then save it and then go ahead and refresh this. Now it will work. Yes, see, API using post2, and then here it was my post, my function name s2. All right, so this is all about API. These are means different ways how you can create and access your APIs. All right, so this is it, guys. That's how you create APIs and then consume them. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible so you guys can easily understand this. And once you understand this, you can move forward creating huge APIs. All right. So, okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you liked it. And if you liked it, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more videos like this, I keep posting these videos every week. So please click subscribe. Thank you and have a great day ahead.